Today, let's talk about melatonin. What is its role in us getting sleep naturally without supplements? And when is it useful for us to actually add a supplement of melatonin so that we can get better sleep? Hi, my name is Carol Richard. I am the founder of the Sleep Success Academy, and I love helping people find better sleep and trying to do it holistically without the use of medication. However, there are times when you could use melatonin and it might help, and other times where it's not useful. So that's what I want to talk about today. But before we go there, why don't you go to my website, sleepsuccessacademy.com. If you scroll down on the homepage about halfway through, you will see that you can get access to my free guide, Journey to Better Sleep, 5 action steps to improve the quality of your sleep. If you download that, you'll be added to my email list and you will get notified every time I post a new video. You can also choose to subscribe to my channel, as well as receive other information and great sleep tips that I send along with programs or anything else that you might choose to participate in. All right, so let's talk about melatonin. I often have people asking me if they should take melatonin or not. And I always go, no comments, because I'm not a doctor and I don't believe in prescribing medication or any of that, because that really should be done with a healthcare provider. However, what I do know about melatonin is what I want to share today. And my information comes from the book, Why We Sleep. It's written by Dr. Matthew Walker, who does a lot of sleep studies and research on sleep. You can Google him. He's got tons of information out there. And I really like how he shares the science behind different things. And melatonin is what we're going to dig into today, because melatonin really is produced naturally by our body. And if we are someone who is not jet lagged or is not a shift worker, and that we have somewhat of a regular schedule, Monday to Friday, and even on the weekend, if we keep that schedule going, we don't need to take a supplement for melatonin because our bodies will produce it naturally. So this is how it works. We have this 24-hour body clock, which is our circadian rhythm. So I'm sure you've heard of the circadian rhythm before. And during this 24 hours, we have like a wakeful period and a sleep period. Now, my circadian rhythm, the way it's set up is that I go to sleep at 9 and wake up at 5. That is what works best for me. I'm an early bird and I love waking up that early. Now, if that's not for you, that's okay, but you still have the 24-hour circadian rhythm. That might just be like from midnight till 7 or 8, and that's okay. But what happens is, as our body goes through this wake cycle and this sleep cycle, at a certain time, the melatonin will be like, I don't want to say discarded, but will be like sent into our bloodstream from the pineal gland. So the pineal gland, which is in the back of our head, will know that it's time for it to alert the melatonin to flood our bloodstream. And with that notice that we get from the melatonin, it then tells our body and our brain that it's getting dark outside, it's time for us to go to sleep. Therefore, it produces the melatonin that brings on the sleep. And this is where a lot of people get confused, because they think if they take a melatonin, it will help them stay asleep, but it doesn't. The only thing it does is it indicates to your brain or body that it's now time to go to sleep. So in the book, in this book, he uses a really great example for me to explain this, because it made a lot of sense to me when I read that. He said, it's like, if you think about running a 100-meter race or any distance race, really, when you're at the start line, right, you're waiting for someone to give you the go signal. So the guy that would like hold that pistol and go, time to go, ready, set, go, and you start running. He would represent melatonin. So he is the person, the melatonin, saying to your body, it's time to go to sleep. But once you're running the race, the melatonin, the guy telling you to ready, set, go, has nothing to do with you running the race. Then you're on your own for sleep. So the melatonin is kind of the same way. In this book, there's a wonderful line that says, melatonin simply provides the official instructions to commence the event of sleep, but does not participate in the sleep race itself. So that's what melatonin is good for, is just to let your body know that it's time to go to sleep. So now that we have that information, when should you use melatonin? Because I believe that if you're jet lagged, or if you're trying to reset your circadian rhythm, say you're going to bed too late and you want it to be able to go to bed earlier, then yes, a melatonin supplement would be good to start training your body to have melatonin earlier. It's not the same as your own natural production of melatonin, but it is a tool that we could use to then try to get your circadian rhythm to go to sleep earlier. If you're jet lagged, because, you know, when we travel from country to country, or even here in Canada from province to province, we switch time zones. And so if I'm going to go somewheres where I'm used to going to, like, probably, I'm guessing my melatonin starts producing itself around 8:30, so that I'm asleep by 9:30. But if I'm somewheres where it really is only 5 o'clock here, but it's like 9 o'clock there, I'm not going to start producing the melatonin because my circadian rhythm is still on this time zone. So then, yes, it would be beneficial to take a supplement in order to reset my circadian rhythm so that it starts producing melatonin at the time that it is supposed to. With that, coming back the other way, where, you know, I'm ready for bed at night, but now my body thinks it's only 5 because I've come back to my own time zone, then you will have to slowly bring your circadian rhythm back. And what's interesting in the book, it says that your circadian rhythm, you can only really reset it 1 hour per day. So if you were like 3 or 4 hours away from your home for time zone, it might take you 3 or 4 days to get back to your normal circadian rhythm. So let's talk about shift workers. I really need to do more research on this, but just with what I've said, you know, it could be hard for shift workers because they're constantly having to reset their circadian rhythm every 4 or 5 days, depending on how they do shift work. And so no wonder it's hard for them to actually get the sleep they need. And it's not really good on your body to go back and forth that way. But a supplement could be useful for them to get more sleep, because it would help with the falling asleep. And then it's up to their body and their brain to keep them sleeping. So that's another time that would be useful to take melatonin. Now, the biggest question that I had is, does stress affect the melatonin production in our body? Because that's what I work with the stress. And I'm like, okay, so if people are having a hard time falling asleep, does it have to do with the melatonin not being produced that could be caused by stress? And in that research paper, it says, our findings indicate that stress may impair pineal sympathetic input, leading to an abnormal melatonin release that may increase the environmental maladaptation. So when I read that, a lot of big words, and we don't really need to know what they mean, but yeah, stress affects the release of melatonin. So this is where I come in, as we really work on reducing your stress level, creating balance in your life, using tapping to reduce the stress, that then we can then have our own bodies produce the melatonin that is needed for proper sleep. So I hope this was helpful. It does help me too, as well, when I think about, if I'm traveling, do I want to bring in a melatonin supplement, or do I want just to let my body do what it knows to do and reset its circadian rhythm on its own? And it might take a few days, but knowing that just takes the stress away from, what if I can't sleep tonight? I know that eventually my body and my brain will get back on track with my sleep, and it doesn't create the fear that then keep me awake. So that's it for today. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to write a comment or send me an email at support@Sleep Success Academy. I would love to help you sleep better, and we can always set a plan to see what it is that you need in order to improve the quality of your sleep. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I look forward to our next video together. Bye.